Is mic on? So I bought this bike. I'm hoping that it's doing what it's supposed to do and allows me to be very clear now. Let me lean back, lean back, lean back. Yes. So welcome back to the Well Lived Escape channel. Welcome. This is probably my second video. And I just wanted to share what well lived means for me and what it kind of means overall for this channel. I know you're probably wondering, why does she have everything so structured? It's because this was something I really was interested in doing, creating a community and knowing that it's not going to be a big community, but just small is going to gradually grow once people realize this is something that they needed. I do want to share a story, as this channel is going to have a lot of little stories, little tidbit information. Um, for me, having a life well lived means that you are cultivating a life that has a lot of things that make you joyful. Um, as I shared, that this space is for women who just really have not given time for themselves, who have sacrificed for others, or just have been doing things that they felt that they were told to do or had to do, or there was like a path made out for them, and they're coming to the realization that that's not necessarily how life has to be lived. I'm guilty of that. But in the midst of doing what I was supposed to, I always had this craving inside to be a little rebellious. Always one that kind of did things out of the norm. I could tell you, for like when I turned 30, and a lot of immigrant cultures, right? You stay at home. You live at home until a man comes and comes along and marry you. A few people, of course, got a chance to live out, but you stayed at home with your parents until it was that time. Or you quickly found a spouse while in college so that you do not have to go back home. And I lived with my parents for a while, but then at 30, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, because I was always around. I was always being that parental person, that firstborn child, a Capricorn. Okay. Say no, say less. Right. So I needed to escape that. And it wasn't till I moved out at 30, I started doing things that I wanted to do. I was a leader in the church for a very long time, and when I moved to Florida, I said, "No, I'm retired. I am retired from being responsible and doing stuff for other people, because when you are in church ministry, you are sacrificing yourself, because everybody always thought because you're single, you have plenty of time and you are supposed to give yourself to the church and all this extra stuff. But a lot of people weren't really worried about how I was feeling. And when I realized that everybody was benefiting from me, from my hard work, from my ideas, um, and knowing that I wasn't getting acknowledged, not really acknowledged, but just more so, I wasn't getting anything in return. So it wasn't until I moved here, I started doing things that was really kind of based on what I like. And I started realizing, oh, I like this. I don't like that, and it takes growing, it takes maturity. And as you get older and older, especially at 40, you start getting that, you know what, all those things I was doing before, I don't want to do it. And unfortunately, I've seen other ladies who, this is who they are. They are going to sacrifice. They feel like that's what God made them to be, a vessel and available for other people. And that's great. You absolutely be that if that is where your heart is. But if you know you are catching diseases, if you are not mentally well, if you are struggling, just to do everyday stuff because of the responsibility that's in your mind and all these things that you have to do, it's not healthy for you. So I can tell you a quick story of another main reason of why I am here, so concerned about my well-being. About 2023, 2022, I did my backpacking solo trip. I was gone for about 7 weeks, and I was working, but it wasn't work that sent me. It was me just kind of going to different cities. I literally, here, I'll show you. This was my book that I wrote everything down of what I was gonna do in various countries. That's how, like, unorganized. But I wanted to live a life that I never got a chance to live when I was in my college years, right? So, um, when I came back from that trip in 2022 and 2023, I went on a solo cruise and I came back and I felt sick. I felt ill. I felt sick or something. Wait a minute. Yeah. So I got sick and it was just like one of those things. I always knew I was a pretty healthy person. And when I came to a point, my body was just like, this is not going to work. And keep in mind, I was working a full-time job and I was working part time, and then I was traveling too. So it was a lot on me. But I'm a kind of person that's hard headed and don't realize that, I was doing too much. So I went to the hospital and I was in a coma. Yeah, I was unresponsive for about 3 days and it was kind of life threatening. So the doctor said I had some kind of autoimmune disorder or something. I kind of play it in the back of my mind because to me, the reality that I have this condition kind of hasn't really hit me yet. But after getting sick, I went to getting like physical treatment to make my body better because if they said that my antibodies were eating my blood, I don't know, just a lot of crazy things was happening at that time. But anyway, I after coming out of being sick, I started seeing a therapist. I've seen therapists for other things, but I went to see a therapist because my cousin suggested, because she was saying you probably want to see somebody. But for me, I'm like, no, I'm fine. I can go back to work. I couldn't wait to go back to work. Crazy me. I was ready to like, go back to my normal life, right? But the thing is that I wasn't ready. And I didn't know how to sit down. I didn't know how to calm my ass down to really realize like you need to slowly gradually get back to your old self. And that was very hard for me because I felt that, hey, if God made me survive, I gotta do the most with it, right? So when I went to the therapist, the first, I think it was the second therapist I tried. So she asked me about to share about myself, and I started talking about my experience being sick and how that really was just like life altering. And she said, "How did that make you feel?" And I promise you guys, I bawled. Okay, I think I was crying for like a good 2 minutes. Um, and to me, every time I say it, it's kind of like that's the moment you realize, whew, like that moment you realize that you weren't good, you know? And this is why I share this community or like trying to build this community, because I don't think people realize that they need that support, that they need the help, or that they need to escape their everyday just for a moment, just for a little bit. And you can't, you may think like it's okay, but the reality is like you're missing out on doing something for you. So anyway, before I go on a tangent, when she asked me how do I feel about that, I cried because nobody took the time to really ask me how do I feel about being sick. Everyone expected me to be, yeah, I'm so happy because I'm alive. And I personally felt guilty that I wasn't at that state. I actually almost was like, what is it called? Survivor's remorse. I felt guilty for surviving. I felt like, well, how did I allow myself to be that sick? Why? Like there were so many whys and just a whole bunch of whys at that time. And I couldn't address it. And then it kind of killed my mental, like really had a, it wasn't, I wouldn't say depression, but perhaps it was just like a really terrible feeling about myself that I did not want to live because it didn't seem like it was worth living. Like why would God put me in that state of being gone, and then like what was that about? So there was just a lot of unanswered questions, but I felt guilty about it. And but the thing is, like, I knew I shouldn't feel guilty because not a lot of people survived. I even had a family member who did not survive, and she was younger than me. So it was kind of like, man, when that therapist asked me that, it gave me a moment to really realize that I am okay to feel the way that I felt. My feelings about the experience that I had, it was my experience that I had to deal with, but I also had to be okay with what happened. And I had to learn over time, over a lot of sessions with her, to be accepting of the experience that I had, and that the feeling that I had about the experience, that they were completely valid. So what does this have to do about living well? It's a matter of feeling guilty. That's pretty much it. It's getting away from the idea that, yeah, I grew up being the what's it called, the parental first daughter, or being just the person that always has to do it all if you're single, and you always have to do everything for yourself and never having somebody to help. It's just always having the feeling of guilt that you can't really live that complete joyful life. um, and it's also about being able to see that there's a life outside. There's a life, not outside like physically, but there's a world that you have not tapped into. And because of your limitations, maybe the way you grew up, or your environment now, or the lack of money, or the lack of support, or just so much responsibility, you didn't get a chance to get to live that life. And I think at 40, like they say, the midlife crisis, it's not a midlife crisis. It's just you get to a point and you realize, like, I can't do things the same way that I used to. As I shared, after now that, what, 2 years outside of being the initial being in that medical situation, I try my best not to live that way, but it's a everyday struggle. But in the sense of trying to get it out of my mind that I don't have to live that way, I also try to implement stuff that's going to benefit me. Little things like having those slow moments in the morning, going for walks. I mean, that has been something that has been clearing my mind in the morning. When I don't go for a walk in the morning, my body gets very annoyed very quickly. So it's understanding that there's so many things that you can do to improve your life, but to live well, but you have to also define what well means. So some people, getting dressed all the time, treating yourself to luxurious things might be how you feel about living well. For other people, it just means minimalist, where you have very little of things because you don't want to carry too much. So it's really tapping into what works for you. Where are you at? Where do you want to be? And how are you planning on getting there? So I am excited about this channel because I I want to share as I'm learning, even for myself. So if you hear me talk about my personal experiences, um, don't take it as, oh, I'm just talking to talk. It's more so to see yourself in that situation. Maybe there's a part of your life, or your journey, whether it's marriage, divorce, my finger, whether it's any life experiences that you have, that you can see yourself in it. Because I think as a woman, we do experience things, but we don't know that we are allowed to have these feelings of, hey, shame, regret, um, desire. We're not okay with that because we feel like, ugh, I don't want nobody to know I want this, even though I really want to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping that this will open your mind to getting what you want, or at least going the path that makes you happy, to be very, very joyful. And it's finding joy in the little things. It's also seeing opportunities, like something that you never thought, or pushing yourself towards it. Like if you never went on a cruise before, take a chance. And I hope that maybe in the community I'm trying to build and grow, that you'll find other people that you can do those things with, that you can try these experiences with, or just be able to find a space to share your dreams with, and know that you'll have the support. So yeah, this is what living well is. And we're going to go little by little, and I'm going to share some insights and things that I've researched, and things that that I had in my mind all these years, that I'm finally putting it out. I think there was a lady I saw on IG, and she was like, why are you letting a 22-year-old girl tell you how you should wake up in the morning? You who are 40 need to talk to other people your age, and then you should be out here making your own content. So this was really the push that was just like, stop talking about it, stop dreaming about it. And I know, yes, you need to look presentable, but sometimes I'm going to come out here rough just because I want to share the information. But what's going to be important is that I can bring some value. I can bring you something that can help you resonate and think of yourself and put yourself in a situation and see how you can live a well better life for you. Okay? All right. See you next time.